chose me. I'm a champion, I need some trophies. I can draw the lane, I can shoot the three. I can run 100 yards, I can throw it deep. I ain't choose the game chose me. I'm a champion, I need some trophies. I can draw the lane, I can shoot the three. I can run 100 yards.
And happy Sunday night, wherever you may be. Also, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Welcome to the Extra Point. I'm Lauro Antonio. With me is Ben Kurse and Isaiah Leong. And fellas, how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Laura. How are you doing? And Isaiah?
I'm good too, man. Glad to do this show with you guys. We did like a 3-hour show last night. It was like super tiring, especially in the end. But we gutted through it, and it was a really great day, an insane day actually, of NFL action here in Week 11.
All right, let's start with your Week 11 recap. So Ben, since you're on air with us, let's talk about the Patriots and Falcons game. Since we didn't do post game on Thursday. So what are your takeaways from the Patriots and Falcons game?
Yeah, just utter domination. It's just been what we kind of seen with this Patriots team the last couple weeks here. Mac Jones obviously didn't have to do a whole lot. The defense just continues to ball out. I mean, I was feeling pretty good in a short week against a team like the Falcons, without Calvin Ridley, without Hayden Hurst, one of their top tight ends, and then without Cordell Patterson, who's a very versatile type of player. And Bill Belichick spoke highly of Kyle Pitts, and I love Kyle Pitts. He's one of my favorite guys. If we didn't take a quarterback, that's who I wanted for the Patriots. He's just an extremely talented tight end. But no offense to Kyle Pitts, but I think Bill Belichick in the last couple of weeks is basically, taking away your best player and making sure that everybody else beats you. And I looked at that Atlanta wide receiving core, and I'm like, not anybody really scares me outside of Kyle Pitts if you take away Calvin Ridley and Hayden Hurst and Cordell Patterson. So I really like, those matchups. And as long as the Patriots play their game, they have to be perfect against this team. They got a little conservative kind of in the second half because I think they really felt, with their defensively that they were kind of playing, that they were feeling going to be pretty good in terms of winning this game here. And, the only thing that I was a little bit worried about was I felt like at the time it was 13-0. Mac threw that pick, and it felt like, things could have been changing. But, man, the play calling, Arthur Smith, and, I know that Laura, he's been an absolute nightmare. I didn't realize, how I haven't really seen the Falcons at firsthand, but he's just been an absolute nightmare for them. I understand that he probably wasn't out with all of his best players, but, man, there were some conservative plays where they had chances, the Falcons did. And I'm not saying the Patriots got lucky, but I think, they had some opportunities, and then the Patriots capitalized kind of at the end. The Falcons also had, I thought it was really hilarious to have 3 quarterbacks throw an interception each. That's kind of the way that our defense has been absolutely balling. So, no, it felt good. No, it's a shutout. I was hoping for that shutout at the end, and we happened to get it. And for those that don't know, the Patriots got 25 points, which was the lead that the Atlanta Falcons blew to us in the Super Bowl. So it turned out to be the best part about it, and here we are. And it definitely was able to enjoy a stress-free type of day today for the Patriots. But the Patriots got a bunch of help, and obviously we could talk about that if you want to go more into depth. But I'm feeling pretty good, I guess you could say, as a Patriot fan. As though we're back into first place. Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But Isaiah, your Niners, however, got a win. So I have a video to play with you before you get your thoughts on this. Here we go.
Woo! Woo! How about them Niners, baby? Turn it up, DJ. Turn it up. Turn it up. Come on, turn it up, DJ. Woo! That's right, Jay-Z. Guess who's back? The Niners are back! We back!
That's incredible. That's just awesome.
Oh my gosh. Well, Lauro, first of all, the 49ers are now truly in the playoff race. It was good to see. I know it was against Jacksonville, and Jacksonville didn't play like their most disciplined brand of football today. They had like, I believe, one player ejected because he threw a punch, and then they had like so many penalties on the defensive side of the ball, mostly from, their defense getting frustrated. But it's good. It was good to see that the Niners kept the momentum from that big win over the Los Angeles Rams on Thursday Night Football and kept it rolling, because there's always some times where you get a big win and then the next game, whether you're playing an opponent that is not really that good, you just go out there and lay an egg. So I was kind of worried actually going into this game that, and we talked about this last week on this show, that the Niners, we don't know how they would respond, because they have a big win, but you guys know that when West Coast teams travel to the East Coast, the West Coast teams typically always struggle. So I thought that the Niners were going to lay an egg, but thankfully they didn't. But it was a great win for the Niners. The defense played well. The defensive line got after the Jaguars' battered offensive line and made life really tough for Trevor Lawrence, and also made life really tough for the running game. But I think this game was more about the Niners really finding their swagger, especially on offense. They've been really searching for that the first 10 weeks of this regular season before the Rams game. And I think they finally found their swagger, and they finally found their identity on offense. And that is run the football, use drives, use long drives to suck the other team, and then play good defense when the opposing team is on offense. I think that's the identity of the San Francisco 49ers. That's how they've been successful the last couple of weeks. And, if they could do that against Minnesota, if they could just keep away from Kirk Cousins and from Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen next week, I think they have a really good shot at winning that game. And then I believe after that they got Seattle. And then after that, they have the Falcons, who, Ben, you and Low Rose Patriots just completely creamed on Thursday Night Football. They have the Falcons, and then I believe they got the Bengals afterwards, and then they have a couple more easy games on the schedule. So I think the Niners, they're peaking at the right moment, and right now they're battling the Saints, the Vikings, and the Panthers for that final 2 playoff spots in the NFC. And for me, I think you got to give it to the Niners and the Vikings as the favorites, because the Saints just lost their quarterback, Trevor Siemian. I don't really trust them. You saw what happened to him today against an inferior Eagles team, throwing 2 interceptions. And then, the Panthers, I can't really trust them because they're always just off and on. Like, you don't really know which Panthers team is going to show up on any given Sunday. So, the Niners for sure are back right now. It's great to see that they're peaking at the right time, and they finally figured out their identity as a football team.
They have finally figured out their identity as a football team. So, Isaiah, now we're going to talk about the Jaguars potentially overhauling their coaching staff. So, dive into that in your perspective on if you're going to see just a couple of changes on the offensive staff of Urban Meyer heading into next season.
Yeah, so for our audience out there that doesn't know what we're talking about, there was a report that came out, I believe from Jason Lockenfora of CBS Sports, that Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars are planning on overhauling his staff. He's at odds with a couple of his assistants regarding the offense that they should run for Trevor Lawrence, because Trevor Lawrence has really struggled to fit into a pro-style system. If you watched him in college, he didn't run a pro-style offense. He ran more of a spread offense with a lot of RPOs into that offense. So Urban Meyer actually wants to run a lot of the stuff that Trevor Lawrence did at Clemson and was really successful with in the NFL. But a lot of his assistants like Darrell Bevell and Brian Schottenheimer, they don't want to run that. They want to run a pro-style offense. And, I got to agree with Urban Meyer on this, just because, when you have a rookie quarterback, this is how you harm your rookie quarterbacks, is you make your rookie quarterback adjust to the scheme that you have in place on offense. I know my Niners, we had Colin Kaepernick for several years. And the reason why Colin Kaepernick severely regressed was because Jim Harbaugh and his coaching staff tried to make him a pocket passer. And he wasn't, great at being a pocket passer. I know you have to be a pocket passer to succeed in the NFL, but he just wasn't successful at that. His strength was more of running and throwing on the run. And I think they got away from that, and that was, the ultimate failure of Jim Harbaugh. And when you're coaching a rookie quarterback, you have to fit your offense to him. You have to get the stuff that he did in college that made him successful and implement some of that stuff in the NFL, just like what the Chargers did with Justin Herbert his rookie year, just what the Bengals did with Joe Burrow his rookie year before he got hurt. You just got to do that, or else he won't be successful in the NFL. And I've been saying for, I believe, a couple of weeks now, or even a month, that Brian Schottenheimer and Darrell Bevell, they should have never been hired to begin with, because no disrespect to them, but they run a dinosaur offense. That's how it is. You're not going to win now in the NFL running a Marshawn Lynch Seahawks run heavy 2010 type of an offense. You just won't be able to win in the NFL. And I think that's one of the reasons why Trevor Lawrence has been struggling, is because they're running an offense that a lot of teams have already figured out from the past decade. So I think you got to run more of a modern day progressive college style offense, because the Chiefs, the Niners, and the Rams, and all these teams that have great offenses, they run a lot of offenses with a lot of college content. Even the Arizona Cardinals do. That's why they're so successful, running, a little bit of an air raid NFL type of hybrid offense. So, if I'm Trevor Lawrence, Ben and Laurel, I am popping champagne at this news that Darrell Bevell and Brian Schottenheimer will potentially be gone, because it's about time. I mean, those two guys, there's a reason that they've been fired twice in the last 4 years. It's just because they are running an offense that's kind of extinct now, and it doesn't work in the NFL nowadays. And Trevor Lawrence, he's a coach that would play to his strengths, and also a coach that would run an offense that has a little bit more modern day concepts than what was going on in the old days. So I definitely think that it's about time that these guys get the boot.
Absolutely. Now we're going to go back to our comments section as Christy Wilson and Casey King and Justin Bosman are tuning in. He says, Christy Wilson says, hello, guys. And Casey King says, good evening, guys. And then Justin Bosman said some comments here. He was saying the Patriots are back. Let's go, number 1 seed. Absolutely right here. And Casey King had a point here that said the Patriots are playing some good football, and those 2 games versus the Bills down the stretch should be really, really good ones as well. So anyways, now let's talk about the Packers taking on the Vikings. I mean, I was watching Red Zone, and this was instant classic. So anyways, Isaiah made a jinx here about this game, and let's take a look.
Vikings, gone, goodbye, sayonara, baby.
Ben, you want to take this first? Laurel, you want to take this first?
I'll watch the end of it.
So you guys know how Callan always, makes fun of me saying I'm a jinx and stuff like that. Well, I actually might be a jinx, because that video was actually filmed right when Kirk Cousins, I thought he threw a pick before the 2-minute. Yeah, he heaved it deep, and I saw the Green Bay guy come down with it. So I was busy celebrating, because my guy Stephen Wang was giving me, a bunch of nonsense about how the Vikings are back and how the Vikings are going to overtake not only the Niners, but he even said some other stuff about I think they're going to overtake the Rams and stuff like that. So it was a bunch of nonsense. So once I saw that, I had to give it back to him. And actually, right when I made that video, or right after I sent that video, the ref actually came out and said the ruling on the field has been changed, and the runner or the cornerback did not possess control of the football. So, yeah, I actually kind of jinxed that. So, Packer fans, I'm sorry about that. But, Laurel, you're right. That was a really insane game. It was a really interesting football game. I mean, I thought Minnesota was going to make it close, but I thought that Green Bay was ultimately going to win because, Aaron Rodgers always has a lot of success against the Vikings. But, I mean, like we said last week, the Vikings are one of the most bipolar teams in the NFL. One week they look great. The next week they look like trash. So we don't know what Vikings team is going to show up. And today the good Vikings team showed up. But next week, I don't know. Maybe the bad Vikings team will show up. But, I mean, this team is always like off and on. So I don't really think you can count on them.
You don't want to count on the Vikings. I mean, I just think that the Vikings, that one game they're good, one game they're bad. So, anyways, now let's talk about the Chiefs and the Cowboys. So, when I watched that, I kind of was like, why would the Cowboys be held to only 6 points? That makes me think Stephen A. Smith would be celebrating with his champagne bottles in this game. So, Ben, what are your takeaways in that Chiefs and Lions game?
Well, I thought that type of game was going to be what we got for the Sunday Night Football game, a high-scoring shootout. But when you see Amari Cooper go down, he's a big weapon for Dak Prescott. As much as I like Dak Prescott, I don't like the Cowboys. But as much as I don't like the Cowboys, I respect a lot of Dak Prescott. Great player. Obviously, what he had to go through in recovery last year made me respect him a lot more. But then you go down, not only Amari Cooper, but you go down Ezekiel Elliott. He was banged up during the game. You go down CeeDee Lamb. So you take out those guys, and, they're just not the same team offensively. They were out. Well, not only they're not the same team, but Dak Prescott was definitely a little bit out of sync. But you got to give a lot of credit to that Chiefs defense. They were doing great last week against the Raiders, but this week they're just pouring it on. And, Chris Jones had an absolute field day. I don't know if they moved him on the line, but he had 4 or 5 sacks in this game. The Chiefs offense, the first drive, I was just like, well, looks like kind of the same offense we saw last week against the Raiders. But it looked like after that, it was kind of like what we saw before Raiders, where they were kind of, they had a lot of 3 and out type of stalled drives. And, Kelsey had some tough ones out there on the field. Mahomes did okay, but, obviously the pick that he had was the tip. But it was really that defense from the Cowboys actually did pretty good. It was their offense that really kind of struggled throughout the game. So execution-wise, the Chiefs were just kind of off, I thought, offensively, which they've kind of been for like the last month or two. Am I kind of going to myself saying, are they back? I mean, not necessarily, but they've definitely been playing a lot better, lately, I guess you can say, especially, in big primetime spotlight type of games. They're playing at least kind of what we're kind of used to seeing. Tyreek Hill got the ball a lot. I think they're just really kind of adjusting to the Chiefs' offensive. Wow, it's not all the explosive plays. It's kind of just taking what you can take. And but they're definitely not beatable. They're definitely not unbeatable. You kind of see this AFC, and I know I say your team's the NFC, but the AFC is completely wide open. They're like I've been saying, even really NFC, there's a lot of the NFC is wide open, but the AFC specifically, it's extremely wide open. So I think that, yes, I guess you could say Kansas City might be but it's just kind of really hard to tell. But it's a big win for the Chiefs because, they're obviously they're still kind of within the thick race because the AFC West, you look at the Chargers, they had a big win tonight. They're trying to keep pace. The Raiders, I know that they lost against the Bengals, but that division is going to be definitely interesting to see. But it was really about the Chiefs defense with that win. The Cowboys offense was completely stalled all day.
It sure was. Now that being said, folks, now let's talk about the the Raiders on a losing streak right now. What is going on with the Raiders? But Isaiah, get your take on the Chiefs and Cowboys game before we go into what's wrong with the Raiders.
I think, like Ben said, the reason why the Cowboys really struggled was because, first of all, they couldn't get the run game going. And whenever they can't get the run game going, they always seem to struggle. And especially without Amari Cooper, they just couldn't get the pass game going either. So I think it just had to do with Amari Cooper being out. Dak didn't really have a weapon that he could trust. in there by his side, and without Zeke and without the run game, they just couldn't get anything going today on offense. But I think the Cowboys will be fine. I think once they get Cooper back, Zeke he's gonna definitely come back to form. And I think the reason why or the Chiefs, I'm actually kind of been impressed by the Chiefs because we've been all talking about how the Chiefs defense sucks and how they're giving up so many points and how my high school team could probably score points in the Chiefs defense. But they've actually kind of gotten it fixed the last 3 weeks of the season. And, Chris Jones has been a big part of it. But I don't know what tweaks the Chiefs have made, but it seems to be working. They've really settled down on defense the last couple of weeks, and I'm really surprised by that. And if they can continue to keep it going, they have to be viewed as the favorite in the AFC since they got a great quarterback, great offense, and now if the defense could just play like a bend, don't break style of defense, which they're getting back to playing, and they're just bending a lot more instead of breaking, then I think the Chiefs could definitely be lethal.
Actually, if you look at I think the Chiefs will definitely they're actually in the playoff mix right now, but looking at the AFC playoff picture, the Patriots are the 3 seed. They could definitely still be in play for that 1 seed, which I could still really see happen here. So, anyways, with that being said, everyone, now let's talk about what is wrong with the Raiders. So they lost again to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I was kind of thinking that this was a win that they should have had, but I feel like that all these distractions, like Casey King was saying, let's pull up his comment here. He said, the Raiders have too many distractions on and off the field. Their defense is not great either. I mean, their defense is so much better with Gus Bradley, but their defense is really underperformed again in this part of the season. So, Isaiah, what are your thoughts on the Raiders losing again to the Bengals? And I was kind of like, the Raiders needed this win.
Well, I think the reason why the Raiders have struggled is because they're finally playing good teams that can throw the football down the field, and they're getting exposed. Their defensive line, whenever they can't get home, their secondary is not good whatsoever. Their linebackers are okay, but they're not the best linebackers in the world. They just, whenever their defensive line, they rely too heavily on their defensive line. Whenever their defensive line just can't get home to the opposing team's quarterback, they just struggle. And that's how it's going to be with the Raiders whenever their defensive line just can't apply pressure on the opposing team's quarterback. And I think on offense, I think the reason why the Raiders have struggled is because they've just gotten too pass happy. When you look at the Kansas City game, they were passing the ball a lot. Today, they were passing the ball a lot. I think what the Raiders need to do is go back to getting that run game going, with Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. I feel like with John Gruden was there, and when he was the guy calling the plays instead of Greg Olsen, they were more, run heavy, like the Cleveland Browns with Baker Mayfield and Kevin Stefanski, and they relied on that a lot, and not Derek Carr to put the team on his back and carry them. And now I feel like with Olsen calling the plays, you have Derek Carr being out there as the guy that is having to put the team on his back and carry them. And I think that's a situation the Raiders really don't want. And I think that with the defense struggling, you got to do what the Niners do. You got to play keep away football. You got to run the football, have long drives, let the defense get their rest. And by the time the defense comes back onto the field, you either have a lead or you have a double-digit lead, and your defense can just pin their ears back and rush the quarterback.
And what about you, Ben? What are your takeaways on why the Raiders have been struggling, and what is wrong with Oakland, with the Las Vegas Raiders?
It's simple. It's basically the Raiders of last year's. They start off hot, and then they get to the end part of the season where they get flawed, and that's what Isaiah just said. Their defense is their weakness spot. They're facing a lot more better teams. And that game last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, I think, was their measuring stick game in terms of how good is that secondary. When you have to face a team with all those weapons and you give up 41 points, and then you face the Cincinnati Bengals team with a bunch of weapons that they have, Jamar Chase, Uzmandov, their tight ends, Tyler Boyd, So it just clears to show that they don't have the tools on their back end to cover a bunch of high power type of offenses. And if you want to be in the playoffs, you got to be able to find ways to do that. And you got to play confident football too. The offense can do so much for Derek Carr. They've been struggling like crazy. They've after the bye week in week 8, now it's week 11. They scored all 3 games under 20 points. That's just not going to get the job done. So if your offense isn't doing the job and your secondary is just struggling against the better teams, it doesn't matter how good your offense is going to be. You're going to be really falling behind a lot of games. I don't mind Derek Carr, but he's just very inconsistent. And I did make something on here that hot take is maybe he could be on the move somewhere. In this offseason. I would not be surprised about it. Nothing to take away from the Raiders about Derek Carr, but I think that he is kind of underrated in this league. I think he gets a little bit overlooked, but there is times that he definitely can fold at times. He's kind of like, I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's offense in a way, but he's kind of like a person that you can't, make him just do everything. You kind of have to put him in a system where he has a good running game. Baker Mayfield has a good running game. Josh Jacobs is a good running back. Nick Chubb is, and then you have Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr. They can just have the work with all the other weapons that they have. But if it doesn't matter what you have in terms of your offense, you have to have that defense, and the Raiders just don't have that. The Raiders actually, after this, have Dallas, and that's going to be on Thanksgiving Day. So that should be an interesting game to see how they will do against that offense. Who knows if CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper? I think Amari Cooper is actually out of this game, but if CeeDee Lamb is back, you have Cedric Wilson, Zeke, Tony Pollard. You still should. I think they'll still have some problems with them, especially with the way that they executed it today. They're probably really mad about that. And then you have Washington, who's been kind of coming uphill a little bit lately. Taylor Heinicke's been able to score a decent point against Carolina's defense and Tampa Bay's defense. And then you have at Kansas City. So the Raiders, 3 weeks after this coming week, they're on a 3-game losing streak. Their schedule does not get much easier here on out. So that's why I think the Raiders are going to keep on sliding now, because between the off-field situation, they did so well in the first half of the season, but they're definitely just falling down to earth. And I think that, I just can't trust them consistently. We talked before the season. Can this offense be consistent? I know that they went through starts early on, but it did not linger out. And I think that's what happened really in terms of their struggles lately.
All right, absolutely. So we got a comment from Justin Bosman, and he says, "Fire Nagy." I've been saying it a lot. The Bears, look at their record now. They're like 3-7. They lost this game they lost to a Ravens team that was without Lamar Jackson, and that is inexcusable. And Ishmael Lancaster tunes in, and he says, "Good evening, guys."
Good evening.
And he also says, "What a great day for NFL football." So Ishmael, thanks for tuning in. And anyways, let's talk about the epic Sunday night football game with the Steelers and the Chargers. It was what you expected.
I'll go first, sure. No, it was crazy. I know, Laura, you're on the call for Colorcast. I still need to find a way to get onto that. My phone is just old, and it's an absolute mess to not get on. But Justin, apparently, that's joining. And by the way, Justin is in our MVP type of club, so props to him for joining back in. And Casey's also part of MVP type club. We'll have our own club in terms of all the people that are joining in. I do appreciate all the support for tonight, as always. But anyway, now this game on Sunday Night Football was awesome. Big Ben was coming back from COVID, and we didn't know, no practice time, how good that he would be. And no, he played great. But the Chargers were doing Charger things. They almost choked, I think, 2 14-point lead swings, and they also I think they blew a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter. I mean, the biggest thing about the Chargers is they just make your head absolutely spin through the whole entire game. But it comes down to execution at the end. And Justin Herbert, man, this guy, I keep on saying it, he doesn't get – because he plays in Patrick Mahomes' division, I just think that he just does not get all the respect. And, they have a good offense, and I think that's the only way that they can really you know, rely on through the next couple weeks here is how Justin Herbert can perform. I mean, Bill Belichick makes him look, the last two times that Bill Belichick has faced Justin Herbert, he's definitely had his issues. But, without Bill Belichick against him on the opposite side, it seems like Justin Herbert's just balling everywhere else. And Justin Herbert, I mean, even Bill Belichick, kind of doing a good game plan on him, he still even struggled. He actually didn't play that bad, but he just struggled kind of, compared to other quarterbacks. But in this game, it was definitely back and forth, a 41-37 type of game. There definitely was a lot of momentum swings, and it was a great game through the very end. And so, I mean, it's between two teams that are kind of in that that kind of mid part of the AFC race. So obviously, it came down to the ending, and it was probably the best game of the whole day, of the whole weekend. We have obviously still about Giants and Brady tomorrow, but I think it's going to be up there, at least top three, if not top 1, 2 of the best games of the week. And that was definitely a classic to watch. And I don't know if people will expect Big Ben to really play it the way he did, but you got to give a lot of props to him, and he looked really good.
He did look really good. You're totally spot on right about that. And what about you, Isaiah? What are your takes on Sunday Night Football?
It was a classic, like Ben said. I actually did not expect the game to turn out the way it did. I actually picked, I think, the Chargers to blow the Steelers out because I thought that with the Steelers, Big Ben's coming back. You don't know how good he is. The Steelers looked really bad last week against the Detroit Lions. And I thought the Chargers, with Justin Herbert, with Eckler, with Keenan Allen, and all those guys that they have on offense, and their defense with Bosa as well, that they were just going to manhandle the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Steelers definitely proved me wrong, and Big Ben showed me that he's still got the arm strength that he had early on in his career. I mean, he was slinging passes down the field. The running game wasn't really working in this game, so you have to rely on Big Ben throwing the football a whole bunch of times to win this football game. And I didn't think it was possible that the Steelers could have a chance to win that way. But Big Ben actually carried the Steelers on his back, and they almost won the game. And, the Chargers, if they had choked the game, man, like that probably would have been one of the worst chokes of the season because you had a 14-point lead with about 6 minutes left in the football game. And normally when you're up 14 with 6 minutes left in the football game, you typically win that game. So I think that, the Chargers definitely got lucky to win the football game. Justin Herbert, though, he's a stud, man. He's really is a stud. And I think the Chargers, they're going to be a team that could potentially legitimately challenge the Chiefs in the division. I really think so. Not just this year, but I could see, as early as next year as well. If they add a couple more pieces, I think on the defensive side, I think they could really challenge Kansas City for the AFC West.
They definitely could. Anyways, folks, so let's talk about Monday Night Football. Tom Brady going up against Daniel Jones of the Giants. Who's going to want to watch that game? You're going to see Tom Brady and that team just cream the Giants. So
I disagree. I think that the Giants are going to – they always play Brady tough, as much as I hate to say it. I think that, Saquon could be back. I think that Daniel Jones could have a bunch of their guys back offensively. I think this is going to be a close game. I disagree with you, Lauro. As much as I want Brady to win this, but the secondary for the Bucs has been absolutely abysmal. They've had a lot of injuries lately. So I think that the Giants offense can actually move the ball. But I do think, with Gronk coming back, I don't know how much he'll be playing tomorrow, but I think he'll be back. That'll be huge for Brady because obviously I'll love him at tight end. Antonio Brown's kind of been his, his number one, I guess. Number two, if that, but he's been out for a couple of weeks, and it's definitely been definitely showing of his struggles. But I think Mike Evans, who only had 2 catches last week, has to be big tomorrow, and obviously Chris Godwin. You got to execute the running game. I don't think that the Giants are very good against the run. So I think if you execute the running game and then it opens up play action, but it really comes down to the secondary for the Bucs. If the secondary for the Bucs can really kind of contain Daniel Jones, that offensive line for the Giants, all season has been a mess, and I think that the Buccaneers front definitely can give the Giants problems. The Bucs are coming off a 2-game losing streak. Brady rarely loses 3, knock on wood, but obviously Brady's my guy, so I want him to beat the Giants, and I hope they win tomorrow.
All right. So, anyways, Isaiah, what are your takeaways from what are your takeaways? Who's your pick tomorrow to win Monday Night Football?
I'm gonna go with the Bucs because it's in Tampa Bay, and I think that tomorrow it's gonna be a matchup where something really has to give because the Giants' offense hasn't been good all season long. The Bucs' defense hasn't been good all season long, so something's got to give. It's either the Giants' offense puts on a show or the Bucs defense finally shows up and puts on a show and plays to the level that we expect from this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. So I can't wait for that game. I think that for the Giants, I think you have to establish the running game, especially if Saquon Barkley plays in that game. And for the Buccaneers, you got to do the same thing. You got to run the football to beat the New York Giants. If you can run the football, that will open up a lot of the passing attack, Tom Brady, and all those weapons that the Buccaneers have. So for me, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay, and I'm actually going to go with Tampa Bay by 10.
All right. So, anyways, now let's talk about the Thanksgiving games as we move on to Week 12 of the NFL season. Our first game we're going to talk about is the Bears and the Lions. So we're not going to see Jared Goff in this game because he is hurt. Tim Boyle will be starting. And I'll tell you what, both teams are in a mess. So I'm going to watch this game, but I think Justin Fields is probably going to be still starting this game because Andy Dalton just came in relief. I don't know why. I mean, Justin Fields is the starter, period. But actually, from what we hear is that Justin Fields left the game with a rib injury, but could he be starting that game? We'll see, but maybe we might have to see Andy Dalton if he can't go. So that's okay. So anyways, with that being said, my pick to win this game is the Detroit Lions. They will finally get their first win of the season, and everybody in Detroit is going to be having a parade on the streets after this game. So what about you, Isaiah? Who is your pick to win this game between the Lions and the Bears?
Well, I mean, Laurel, they might as well move the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade to Detroit then. The fans will definitely be celebrating if they do get their first win. But I don't know, man. I mean, like just thinking about having to watch potentially Andy Dalton versus Tim Boyle to open Thanksgiving Day, like that's giving me a nightmare already just thinking about it. But if I actually have to pick, is it in Detroit or is it in Chicago?
It's in Detroit.
It's always in Detroit, Thanksgiving.
Wow. I'm going to pick, you know what? I'm actually going to go with Laurel. I'm going to go with Laurel and pick Detroit because I think the Lions are hungry for their first win. They're playing the Bears twice this season. They probably know the Bears games are like the only chance that they have of winning a football game. Plus Khalil Mack is out. Bears are dealing with a lot of injuries on defense. I know Tim Boyle, he hasn't been great, but I don't think the Bears are going to be able to stop the run with DeAndre Swift and also with Jamal Williams. So give me Detroit. I think Detroit wins this football game, and I think they will win it by 3 points.
I think they will. So anyways, Ben, what are your takeaways?
I'm going on my own. I'm going with the Bears. The Lions are losing streak continues.
Why do you say the losing streak continues for the Lions?
Because they know where they want to tank for the draft. That's where their mindset is. Heck, they were playing the Steelers, and they had a chance to win it on a walk-off kickoff field goal in overtime, and they even botched that up. So I have no confidence that this Lions team that they can't even beat a Bears team without one of the best defensive players, with a coach that needs to be fired and everything else. Like I agree with Isaiah. Talk about a dud. I need to say something about the Lions and Thanksgiving. they got to change this up. As much as the Lions Thanksgiving, it seems like a tradition every year. How many years do we got to watch this this is based. So I'm traveling 3 hours to go see my cousins for Thanksgiving. I hope that at least I'll travel during that game so I don't have to watch a snooze fest. But if I get to my cousin's house and I see this game, I guess I'll just be on the couch after eating my turkey just sleeping because there's nothing about this game that makes me very excited about. But besides, it's football Thanksgiving, so I guess it's a start.
I might as well just watch Charlie Brown Thanksgiving over this game, honestly.
I'm going to watch it. I want to see how this game unfolds. So next we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll actually be on the call for this game on the Colorcast app. I'm looking forward to calling this game. But are the Raiders going to get creamed like they did when the Chiefs creamed them? Because the Cowboys, to me, I think that without Cooper, they could still have a chance to beat the Raiders if they play better defense. But they just got exposed by the Chiefs. So give me the Cowboys in this game. They're going to go 8-3 over the Raiders. What about you, Isaiah?
I'm actually going to go with the upset here. I think it's going to be a shootout type of a game because I don't trust the Raiders defense, and I think the Cowboys defense have really let me down the last 3 to 4 weeks. So I'm actually going to pick, the Raiders to win in a shootout. I think Derek Carr versus Dak Prescott, that offense for the Cowboys versus the Raiders offense. Both these two teams love to run the football. So I think you're going to see a lot of running in this game. And I think that, when it comes down to it, I think the Raiders are going to win this by, I'm going to go with Raiders by 7. I think it's going to be a close game, though.
Probably is going to be a close game. So, Ben, who's your pick between the Raiders and the Cowboys?
Well, I don't know. As long as it's better than the first game, I guess I'll take this definitely for my start of Thanksgiving. But hey, I'm probably going to go with the Cowboys. I don't know how much I really trust the Raiders in that secondary right now. I think that I agree with Lower. I feel like the Cowboys just Thanksgiving, they've always kind of shined. I mean, besides last year when they got absolutely embarrassed, I think they'll remember that. Their defense today on the Chiefs offense for the most part after that first series I thought played pretty well. So I think that I look at that. I think that the Raiders offense compared to the Chiefs offense, it's definitely not as explosive in terms of the guys that they've had. It only scored, like I said earlier, less than 20 points the last several weeks. So I think that with all those kind of intangibles there and obstacles, I'm going to keep my pick and go 24-17 Dallas.
All right. So, Ben, with that being said here, let's talk about the last game on Thanksgiving. That's in prime time. The Bills taking on the Saints. Oh, my gosh. I mean, this is tough. I mean, would I want the Bills to be 7-4 by the time the Patriots play them in Week 13? Or do you think that the Bills will drop to 6-5 because they got shellacked and got exposed by the Colts today? So, anyways, I'm having trouble who I want to win this game, but I'm going to give me the Saints in this game. They've been kind of struggling, so might as well. I would go for the Saints to win this game just because the Patriots are playing a lot better. I think the Patriots will find a way to overtake the Bills in this in this stretch run. So, Ben, what about you?
As much as I want to say Buffalo, they lost to Jacksonville a couple weeks ago, and then they responded back, I think, against Miami, and then they lost again. They've been way too inconsistent. So they've gone win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. They just got absolutely smoked today, and I feel like they're going to be going out guns blazing. As a Patriot fan myself, I feel like their offense is going to be pissed. They are facing on primetime Thanksgiving night in the Super Bowl. The place is going to be raucous loud. I think it's going to be a close game, but it comes down to quarterback play. Josh Allen or Trevor Siemian? Are you kidding me? Maybe if it's Jameis Winston, I'll talk about it because he's actually been okay this year. But you have a big slight down. Trevor Siemian kind of had one good week. But against the Eagles today, that obviously kind of, he definitely fell back to earth. So give me Buffalo. I hope I'm wrong about this pick, of course, but I think that they're going to win. But those two games, though, I think Raiders, Cowboys, Saints, Bills could be interesting. I remember last year, that night game got canceled, which just felt weird, because of COVID issues with the Ravens. They had to push that game. So just Thursday Thanksgiving night football just hits different, and this game should definitely be interesting, especially with Patriots playoff, I guess you could say, or seeding circumstances. It's going to be definitely a big one to follow.
All right. So, anyways, now let's go on to our Sunday slate, the rest of our Week 12 games. So let's start with the Patriots and Titans. So this is a test for the Patriots. The Titans got exposed by the Texans today. So, anyways, I am going to pick. Oh man, this is tough. I'm going to say the Patriots win, but I think they're going to win by like 3 or even more, because I think with the Titans without Derrick Henry, the Patriots should really take advantage of that offense and make Ryan Tannehill feel uncomfortable. So give me the Patriots in a blowout or something like that. So, anyways, Ben, who's your pick to win between Vrabel versus Belichick?
So when Derrick Henry was out there on the field, I would have had the Titans winning in Foxborough if Derrick Henry played, if Julio Jones played, and AJ Brown. But then between Henry and Brown, Julio Jones went out, and then you had AJ Brown kind of being a little bit banged up today, and them losing to the Texans today. I like the chance for the Patriots. I think the Patriots playing really comfortable right now. They're confident. The Patriots have had some problems with Vrabel in the past, but I think that they've been playing much better at home. I think this could be like I'm not saying like the Browns game was that a couple weeks ago, but I think that it could be like a 30-17 type of game. But I think that there's going to be some turnovers. I looked at Ryan Tannehill. I think he's only had 2 or 3 weeks where he's had more than one touchdown passes. I think that you keep him under like 2 touchdowns, I think you should feel okay about this game for the Patriots. I think the Titans defense, they're a little bit banged up. Bud Dupree's now going to be out for next week, so that's a big loss. Offensively, they have Marcus Johnson or whatever his name is, the number 2. He got hurt today for the Titans. The Titans are a little bit banged up. You take Henry out, Julio Jones out. I'm looking at the scheme in terms of don't let A.J. Brown beat you. I think J.C. Jackson, and you'll have basically a safety over the top. Not let A.J. Brown beat you. And Ryan Tannehill, that offensive line. The Patriots' rushing attack right now has been great. Run the football, open up the play action, score early. I think this could be a really good game, but I think the Patriots will be able to score in the mid-20s and keep it close. Give me the Patriots 27-17.
What about you, Isaiah? What was your pick between the Patriots and the Titans?
Well, for me, I'm going to go with the Patriots to win that game just because I don't fully trust in the Tennessee Titans. If you stop the running game for them and you blitz Ryan Tannehill, really blitz him heavy and keep him in the pocket, he's going to struggle, and that's what happened today. And I think that, Belichick is going to use the game plan that David Culley and Lovie Smith came up with to stop the Tennessee Titans in that Patriots-Titans football game. So I think expect a lot of blitz from the Patriots. Expect the Patriots to just stack the box to stop the run game and make Ryan Tannehill beat you with his arm, because I'm not really sure that he can do that on a consistent game-by-game basis. And I think on offense for the Patriots, I think they'll be able to dominate the Titans D, because like Ben said, the Titans D is banged up and they just haven't been really that good this season. They haven't been bad, but they haven't been great as well. They've just been kind of in the middle. So I really think that the Patriots, they're going to have success both on offense and also on defense. They're red hot right now. So you definitely got to go with the red hot team.
Yeah, they're definitely red hot. That's for sure. So anyways, now let's talk about the next game we're to talk about next is when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Indianapolis Colts. Tom Brady is going to be playing against the Colts in a Bucs uniform, but he might get booed because of this Deflategate scandal that the Colts accused him for. So might see some boos at Lucas Oil Stadium. I'm going with Tampa Bay to win this game. What about you, Ben? And when Brady goes up against the Colts?
I'm going to go Indy. I really like the way the Indy's playing. I think the Indy's a sleeper team. It's a team you do not want to face right now. I watched a lot of that game today against the Buffalo Bills, And they are kind of – I'm not saying they're like the Patriots in terms of a play that you don't want to play right now, but they got a good offensive line. They got a great running game. Carson Wentz, I'm not a huge believer in, but I do think that defense could definitely get to the offensive lines of teams. They can make it hard on teams. I think if the Colts get a little bit of a run, watch out because they've shown in a couple of years that they've kind of been within that playoff stretch. And I don't know. I think that the Bucs will make it a good game, but I think that the Colts with Jonathan Taylor and the way that their running game's going, I really think that the Colts are going to win and then get the Bucs another loss here.
Yeah, they might give Buffalo another loss here, that's for sure. So what about you, Isaiah? Who do you like between the Colts and the Bills?
The Bills, or is it the Bucs?
The Bucs.
No, Colts and Bucs. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry.
It's really tough because Indy's the team that's red hot right now going into this game, and it's in Indy, and the Buccaneers, they've really struggled on defense. So I have a feeling that Carson Wentz is going to have a big day in that game. But I think it's going to be a shootout. I really do. I think it's going to be a shootout, and the Colts defense, for some reason, with DeForest Buckner, you're supposed to be a really good run defense. They just haven't been that great of a run defense team this entire season. So I think Tampa Bay will actually be able to dominate in the run game against Indianapolis. So give me the Buccaneers to win this game, but I think it's going to be a close game, though.
It is going to be a close game, that's for sure. So anyways, now let's talk about the Jets and the Texans. Let's say our picks to get it over with. This is not something to be talking about. Two of the worst teams in the National Football League going head-to-head. I hope Zach Wilson comes back. There's no way for me I'm going to go for the Jets in this game. Give me the Houston Texans in this game. Ben, who do you like in this game between Houston and New York?
Ooh, the battle of the toilet bowl, I guess. Yeah. I would probably the Jets. I don't know. Both teams really are bad. They don't score. They each don't score a lot. I mean, the Texans did beat the Titans, but you know, the toilet bowl is definitely just gonna have to find a winner. Whoever wins it, you know, their season's obviously gonna go flush regardless. So whoever wins it, you know, will move on and play the next team. So give me the Jets.
What about you, Isaiah?
Oh, Ben, if you think the Thanksgiving game between the Lions and the Bears was bad, imagine if they put Texans and Jets as the first game of a Thursday night. I mean, my gosh. But, you know, could I just, like, pick a team out of a hat or something, just have that be my pick? But, you know, I'm going to – you know, if I have to pick one – give me Houston because I just don't trust the Jets, and the Texans just, you know, had a great win actually against the Tennessee Titans. So give me the Houston Texans in this game.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going with Houston too. I mean, Tyrod Taylor playing really good football right now, but I'm kind of shocked that Tennessee lost to the Texans like that. So. Anyways, now let's talk about the Eagles and the Giants. So I'm really liking how the Eagles are playing right now. If you look at the NFC East standings, the Eagles are 5-6. Give me the Eagles over the Giants, and they're going to go 6-6. And Ben, you're closer to New York Giant land. Do you think the Eagles will beat the Giants and they're going to get to 500?
Well, first of all, my brother actually has an apartment right like 5 minutes away from Giant Stadium. You actually could see from his window across MetLife. So maybe I should tell my brother he should go if he's not working. We'll see. It should be a good game though. Eagles, Giants. If the Giants somehow win tomorrow, watch out. The NFC East. I know, the Cowboys really are the team, but you're starting to see Washington kind of crumble up a bit. You're starting to see some teams, and if you're Cowboys, you better watch it a little bit. But Eagles, Giants, it's a chippiness rivalry. It's always going to be close. Is the game it's at MetLife, right?
Yeah, it's at MetLife Stadium. Michael Strahan's getting his number 92 retired.
Giants. I think the crowd's going to be buzzing. I think if the Giants win tomorrow, too, if someone win tomorrow, I think that they are going to be feeling really good about themselves. You know, they've definitely been playing a lot better than they have kind of after, before their bye week. They've kind of gone through some stretches where they obviously played some bad football, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with the Giants in this one. I don't know how much I really trust the Eagles on a consistent basis. I mean, Darius Slay has been balling out defensively. You know, the Eagles definitely put up a bunch of points against the Saints defense today, which was pretty surprising. So, but you talk about the NFL, week by week, things just are turning up to be crazy. And I do think that, I'm going to go with the Giants, but I think it'll be close.
And what about you, Isaiah?
I'm going to go with the Giants because even though the Eagles are the better team, like, Ben said, the crowd's going to be buzzing from Michael Strahan getting his jersey retired. So, and I think the Giants will feed off the juice of that crowd. So, give me the Giants in that game. The Eagles, they've looked good, but, there's times where they don't really look that good, and there's other times where they look really good. So, I don't know really what to expect from this Eagles team, and I don't know really what the Eagles' identity is, both on offense and defense. So, give me the Giants to win this game.
Now let's talk about the Panthers and the Dolphins. So, Dolphins lost to the Washington football team. Cam Newton got exposed. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins. I'm sticking with the hot team because they played well against the Jets today, and I could see the Dolphins continuing their momentum at home with the Miami Dolphins. So, Ben, who do you like between Flores versus Rule?
Give me Cam. I thought Cam actually today, Lauro, he played okay. He actually, Barron, the first start in a while, he actually did really well. For the first thing. I'm not saying, for him being in New England, I liked him. I know he got a lot of slander, and I definitely understand that. But he just wasn't the right fit for our system in New England. And I think that he goes back to a place where he knows very well. He's playing back with McCaffrey and playing with a bunch of guys. And, people are asking, why is he playing well, in a different place than New England? I think it's just because of the fit. And, that's okay to say. He faced a team in Washington who ended up winning this game, but it was a close game. But he did have a rushing touchdown, which was pretty cool because he was able to do it right in front of his former home crowd. And then he had 2 touchdowns, one really good one to Christian McCaffrey across the middle on a seam. So, but you gotta give credit to Taylor Heineke, man. He's been balling out lately. Now with the Tampa Bay and now Carolina, it's been impressive to watch. The biggest thing about Washington though is they lost Chase Young for the season. That's a huge killer, especially if they're playing much better than they have. But you have that guy like him out. That's obviously, the biggest turning point for them. But I think that, they'll try to do what they can to, keep it going and hopefully try to play for him. And Justin, for you saying all of them disliking Cam, I'm going to go more 50-50. But, obviously we have opinions. So.
Yes, we do have opinions there. So, anyways.
But I love Mac, and Mac's the best in terms of our reverse system. So, I do got to admit that.
All right. Now, that being said, folks, now let's talk about the next game we're going to be talking about here for the page for week 12 is after Panthers and Dolphins. Let's go with Steelers Bills. So I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals to sweep the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger. So, Isaiah, I'm going to start with you on this one. Say who's your pick between the Dolphins and Panthers, and then tell me your pick between the Steelers and Bengals.
Dolphins and Panthers. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins because these two teams are both like really inconsistent. Basically, just picking one out of the 2 inconsistent teams. So I gotta go with the Dolphins. I think the game's in Miami as well, so I think the home crowd will play a factor. As far as the Steelers and Bengals, give me Pittsburgh. Give me Pittsburgh because I don't trust that Bengals defense. Although they did play well today, but I don't really trust the Bengals defense. And I think that the Steelers pass rush will give Joe Burrow fits, just like the Steelers or the not Steelers, but the Raiders defensive line did early in that game. It's just that their secondary just couldn't cover to save their life.
And what about you? And what about Steelers and Dolphins?
I thought, wait, is it Steelers and Dolphins
Panthers.
or Steelers and Bengals?
Panthers.
Steelers and Panthers. Sorry.
Yeah, give me Pittsburgh.
All right.
Panthers, Dolphins, Steelers, and Bengals, I think, Laura. I think that's what you meant to say.
That's what I meant to say. So who's your pick again, Isaiah?
Give me Carolina, or give me the Dolphins to beat Carolina, and give me Pittsburgh to beat Cincinnati.
All right. So, anyways, folks, now let's go on and talk about the Falcons and the Jaguars. So, Ben, who's your pick between the Bengals and Steelers?
We go Cincy. I really think that Cincy at home, they're coming off a big win. I really think that, a divisional game, it definitely could go either way. I think it'd be like a down to a 3-point type of game. And I do think at this point in time, I want to go younger quarterback over older. As much as Big Ben played well today, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. So.
All right. So, anyways, let's talk about Jags Falcons. So, Justin Bosman, this comment's for you, Isaiah. He says the Jags could still win the division. You're still a homer on that pick, but we're going to start with you
They
on
have
this
to
one.
win like 8 straight, out 8 of their final 8 games. I hope everybody loses out.
Probably not. That's not going to happen. So, give me the Atlanta Falcons in this game. I think they're going to bounce back after getting blown out the last 2 weeks, and I think Matt Ryan will have a good game against Jacksonville. What about you, Isaiah?
Is it in Jacksonville or is it in Atlanta?
In Jacksonville.
Give me the Jags, actually, because I think that the Falcons' defense is not really that good. Plus, the Falcons' offensive line, like we saw with the Patriots, when the Patriots went into the ATL and steamrolled the Falcons, that the Falcons' offensive line is just trash. So I think the Jaguars, Josh Allen, and those guys up front will be able to get after Matt Ryan a whole bunch in that game. And I think Trevor Lawrence is finally bound to have, a bounce-back game, a game where he goes off against – a team that's not really good defensively. So I think that give me the Jaguars to beat the Falcons.
All right. Now, Ben, who's your pick between the Jaguars and the Falcons?
Well, first of all, it's going to be another toilet bowl game. It's going to be a round 2 type of one. So, we have 2 on tap. We have one in the AFC, we have one in the NFC. So the one in the NFC, I'm going to go with the Jags. I'm going to go with Isaiah's homegrown Jaguars, as we all say. But jokes aside here, I think that the Josh Allen from the Jags is going to do Josh Allen things. I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to have a big one, got a field day. That Falcons team without Calvin Ridley and that's hard to watch. And, for the fact that for myself to say it's hard to watch for them against the Jaguars, I think that says a lot. I think the Jags at least have been able to put up some points here and there. They just don't know how to execute. They're a young team, so it's hard for them to kind of finish games. But I'm going to go with Jacksonville.
All right. So, anyways, now that being said here, now let's talk about who's going to win between the Chargers and Broncos. That should be a really, really good football game. So, anyways, I'm going to go with my hometown Chargers to go 7-4. I just think that with the Broncos, I think they're just struggling right now. Isaiah, you like Vic Fangio, don't you? Would you go for the Chargers or will you go for Vic Fangio in Denver?
I'm actually going to go with the upset because Vic Fangio, if you've seen his history against Justin Herbert and the Chargers, he's had a lot of success against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he's actually either lost only a game or he's unbeaten against the Chargers in his brief head coaching career. So I expect that to continue. Plus, Brandon Staley, the head coach of the Chargers. He runs the Vic Fangio defense. He came from the Vic Fangio coaching tree. So Vic Fangio knows what Brandon Staley's going to run. He's going to be able to help out the offensive side of the ball, create plays that will beat that type of a defense. So give me the Broncos in an upset. I think this game is actually going to be more of a low-scoring game because I just think that Vic Fangio knows how to defend Justin Herbert and that Chargers offense, and he's had success before. And I think that, the Broncos, with their ability to run the football and play keep away from opposing teams, I think that Denver wins it on a game-winning kick by Brandon McManus.
And what about you, Ben?
I'm going to go Chargers. I think that, they definitely scared the crap out of a lot of people today with the way that they, played. But Denver just seems to not find their quarterback situation. I think that you need to kind of, at this point in time, kind of really know what your quarterback situation is. So I look at the quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, of course, clears that between them. And then I think I understand the biggest thing that I understand with Isaiah's point in terms of the Chargers are very inconsistent. And if they match up head-to-head in division with them pretty well, it definitely could go either way. But I'm going to go with the Chargers in this game.
All right. Now let's talk about who is going to win between the next game we're going to talk about is we got the Rams and the Packers on America's Game of the Week. What a game we got. I mean, Stafford playing at Lambeau, that should be fun, but I'm going with the Rams in this game. I think that Stafford's due to beat Green Bay. What about you, Isaiah?
I'm trying to see the weather right now of Lambeau because if it's snowing and it's really cold, that's really going to affect Matthew Stafford, a guy that's always played in a dome, with the Detroit Lions and now with the LA Rams. But actually the weather, I believe, it's going to be 37 degrees, but it's going to be sunny. So that's good. I'm actually going to go with the Packers. I think the Packers, they're very bitter about their loss to the Vikings today. It was a division rival, and they felt like they should have won that game and ended up losing that game. And I think the defense is going to play much better than they did today. And I think that, I think we're going to see not a high scoring game, but it's going to be like a mid-high scoring game. And I think you see both these quarterbacks going off, but I think it's going to come down to one final possession. And I just think that the defense for Green Bay will step up. And Matthew Stafford, I don't know what's wrong with him the last couple of weeks, but he seems to be throwing like a ton of interceptions now. And I think that the Packers, with their defense, I think the Packers will be able to force, a game-clinching interception by Matthew Stafford.
They could definitely do that, but we'll see how that goes. So, anyways, now let's talk about – now, Ben, who's your pick to win that game between the Rams and the Packers?
I'm going to go with the Rams. I think the Rams defense against the Niners are pretty upset with the way that they played. As much as I want to go Green Bay at Lambeau, I'm going to go with, I guess you could say, the upset pick. Because usually the Packers play great at Lambeau, especially this time of year. But I'm going to go with the Rams because their defense and, I think the defense is a big bounce back week. I don't think Stafford will have a big game, but I think Odell Beckham will have a big game in this one. I don't know why. I'm not a big OBJ guy, but I think that you start to put him into the offense. You give him a week type of time with the bye week, and then of course you have the next week, this week to have some practice time to kind of learn the offense. I think Odell could have a big game in this one, but I think Aaron Rodgers does have a big one. I think it'd be like a 30-27 type of game, and I think the Rams will pull it out.
Yeah, that definitely could happen here. That's for sure. So, anyways, now let's talk. The next game we're going to talk about is the 49ers and the Vikings. So you're going to be working that game next week since the 49ers are home, right, Isaiah?
Yep, yes, sir. And also my good friend Stephen Wang, who's a Vikings fan, he's actually going to be going to that game. So I'm pretty sure, he's going to be giving me a bunch of crap during work, especially because I think he's probably going to be sitting in my section. So that's even better. But in terms of, who's my pick, man, it's gonna be tough because I could really see the Vikings winning, even though it's gonna really pain me if they do, because I won't be able to hear the end of it from Steven if the Vikings end up winning it from the Niners. But I can see the Vikings winning just because the Niners secondary is very weak. They have Emmanuel Mosley, they have Josh Norman, but I don't trust Josh Norman to go toe to toe with Justin Jefferson, and I don't trust Emmanuel Mosley and Jimmy Ward to go toe to toe with Adam Thielen. So I'm kind of worried about that. But I think if the Niners can get a lot of pressure on Kirk Cousins, which they did the last time they faced him in the NFC playoffs, then I think that they definitely will be able to win the game because I think the Niners have found their identity. They are going to run the football, and the Vikings are not a good team against the run. I think what Kyle Shanahan needs to do is run the football, go on these long drives that you've seen the last couple of weeks. Like the first drive of the game for the Niners was like a 13-minute drive, and then before that against the Rams, that first drive was like I believe a 12-minute drive. So go on these long drives, keep the ball away from Kirk Cousins and Minnesota, and just blitz the heck out of Minnesota. And you got to definitely stop the run. But with Dalvin Cook, you got to stop the run. But you got to also get after Kirk Cousins because if you let him just stand in the pocket and just, have all day to throw the football, he's going to carve you up. So I'm going to go with the Niners, but I think it's going to be a really close battle. And I think whoever wins this will end up getting one of those final playoff spots in the NFC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is definitely going to be a game to watch when it comes to the bottom tier teams. So what about you, Ben? Who do you like between the 49ers and the Vikings?
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. Kind of two teams that are kind of similar in a way that where they're kind of like in the middle. Like they kind of really don't know like on a week-to-week basis like how they kind of are. But as Isaiah was saying in terms of identity, I'm going to go with the team that's kind of riding high at this point. I do think the Vikings had a big one today, but I think that the Niners kind of have a better kind of idea of what they're doing, and that's in terms of getting a good running game going. Jimmy G, as my former Loves quarterback from New England, he's been playing great as of late, which I think is good, especially for his trade stock, because I think he's going to be a trade target this offseason because Trey Lance is going to take the keys. At least that I think that will happen. But the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, to me, he's a weird type of quarterback. I like him, but I don't at the same time because he's just kind of there, he's in the middle and he's very inconsistent. So I don't want to, Jimmy G's the same way too, but I'm going to go with the riding hot hand, at least in the last couple of weeks. And at least lately, the better quarterback of the two, I think, has been Jimmy G. And Deebo Samuel, George Kittle have been doing great so far. Explosive plays. The Vikings defense today got absolutely shredded. So I think that the Niners do have plays that they can open up in this game next week. So I'm going to go with the Niners.
And what about you? So anyways, now let's go on to Sunday Night Football. That's going to be a really, really good game between Baker and Lamar Jackson. So give me the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. I just think Lamar Jackson is Baker's number, and I just think Baltimore's too good right now. And I think that they're going to they probably will run away with this AFC North here. What about you, Isaiah?
Give me the Ravens as well, because Baker, I think he's too hurt. I think there's going to be a point where one hit will knock Baker out of a game and probably for the season. I'm not wishing that on him, but he's just playing with all these type of injuries, and you guys know that the defenses are going to be aiming for his knee. They're going to be aiming for that shoulder. They're going to be aiming for other parts of his body that's been severely compromised with injuries. So give me the Baltimore Ravens. The Browns defense is not that good. I think the Ravens will run it right down the throat of the Cleveland Browns and take home this football game.
And what about you, Ben?
I'm actually going to go with the upset. I guess you can say it this way. I'm going to go with the Browns. It's because I think, yes, Baker's been off the last couple of weeks, but I think that Nick Chubb is going to be big in this week. You got to really feed them the ball. The Browns haven't been scoring a lot the last couple weeks, and I think that they're bound to have a breakout game. And you can call me crazy for a breakout game against Baltimore, which has usually been a pretty good team. But it's an in-division type of game. I could go either way, but I don't know. I like the Browns in this one. I think the Browns will keep it close and find a way to kind of pull it out at the end.
They could, but we'll have to wait and see here. That's for sure. So, anyways, now let's talk about Monday Night Football. We got the Washington football team taking on the Seattle Seahawks. I think that game to me is a trap game for both teams. I want to see Seattle get a win. I think Russell Wilson needs to find a way to get a win. He's not looked good in his first 2 games back. So, Isaiah, I'm going to start with you on this one. Tell me who wins this game on Monday night.
I'm going to go with Washington. Russell Wilson has not looked good, like you said, Lauro. I think the finger is clearly bothering him, and he's going to go. I know Chase Young is out, but still, they still got a hell of a defensive line with Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, and all those guys that they have up front, minus Chase Young. So give me the Washington football team. I just think Russell Wilson, this entire year or the rest of the season that he plays, he's just not going to look as good as as we were used to seeing, because that finger is just going to keep bothering him, and it's going to affect him when it comes to throwing the football. And Seattle, without a healthy Russell Wilson, even if you have Russell Wilson with a finger that's bothering him, it's still not going to be enough, because they need a healthy Russell Wilson to throw the football. And if you see Russell Wilson against Arizona and Green Bay, he's just looked terrible. His throwing the ball wise, it's been horrible. So give me Washington. I think they find a way to pull this win out in a close one.
Absolutely. So now, before we end this show, we're going to talk about
Lauro.
Was that? And Ben, who's your? Sorry, my bad. So Ben, who do you like between Washington and Seattle?
I'm going to go Seattle. As much as Russell Wilson's been struggling, I think that he's going to be bound to have just a breakout type of game. But Pete Carroll has just been an absolute dumpster fire lately. He's had a great run there. I'm not going to deny that, but I think a lot of Seattle fans have definitely just criticized him for what he's been. I think that they just need a change, really. I think Russell Wilson is a big candidate for leaving this offseason. I think he had a great run in Seattle, but I think he wants to be kind of between him and Rodgers. I think are 2 guys that could be bound for different scenery and for the better. I do, as much as I like Russ in Seattle, and he's kind of fitting in terms of their franchise there, it would not surprise me. And one team that would not surprise me if maybe taking a look at him is Cleveland. I think with Baker Mayfield's uncertainty, I think that Russell Wilson could be an interesting fit there. And then, he can go to a couple other teams that I just don't know about at this moment. But we'd have to see in terms of if there be any offers. Maybe Washington. That could be kind of an interesting fit, because Washington's always kind of needed guys. Maybe Carolina. Justin said Russ the Giants. The uncertainty of Daniel Jones, you never know with him. But that'd be kind of interesting. Broncos. So, obviously something that you have to kind of monitor at the end of the season, because he'll probably get a big market.
Probably will have a big market. You're totally right about that. So before we get to final thoughts, we're going to talk about what we are thankful for. We talked about that yesterday on the Thanksgiving special. So I'm actually going to start off with who I'm thankful for. So first off, I'd like to recognize my family. For me, family comes first. And without them, I would not be here today. And they support me in following my dreams to be in sports broadcasting. And also they're behind me every step of the way. They got me through all of schooling, like elementary, middle, high, and college. And without them, I wouldn't be here today. And also I have pretty much a really good group of friends, that I have that support me as well. I wish I could mention every single one of them, but if you guys are listening or watching our program tonight, just know that how much I love you guys and appreciate you all. And I mean, I wish I could, like I said earlier, I wish I could mention every name on there, but my friends have been the rock throughout, have been the rock of my life, and they have, and I have and the support they give me is second to none. So I wanted to recognize them, and last but not least, I'm thankful for the fans that tune into Extra Point, Wild Sports Talk, and Night Shift, and No BS. I mean, without them, this network, the MI6 Sports Network, wouldn't be skyrocketing our ratings and likes and comments, and also the number of listens that we get. That's without them. I mean, we wouldn't even be here today. And also, I am thankful for my colleagues at the MI6 Sports Network and the Coast to Coast Network. I mean, they welcomed me with open arms since I joined this network back in March of this year, and I can't wait to continue on this journey with the people at the MI6 Sports Network and the Coast to Coast Network, and the people behind the scenes that make these shows wonderful and enjoyable for our fans out there. So that's all I got to say. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Thankful for every single one of you. And I'm going to pass it over to Isaiah. So Isaiah, you had a lot of thank yous to talk about. So let's pass it to you.
Well, I mean, I didn't tear up last night, which is good, because I really thought I was going to get emotional and like bawl out like a baby and have like instead of a crying Jordan, we have a crying Isaiah meme floating out around the MI6 universe. But, I want to thank, obviously my family for, help for supporting me on this journey. I want to thank the fans for always tuning in to the program. Like we said last night, the fans are really the heart and soul of this network, and also our brother network, the Coast to Coast Network as well. Because if you guys don't tune in, I mean, we're basically just talking to thin air, like talking to thin air, and nobody's listening. That's not fun. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. No matter what topic we're talking about, no matter if we're talking about football, basketball, baseball, soccer, lacrosse, hockey, whatever. You guys still tune in no matter what. So we really, really want to thank you. I would say like the other thanks probably I got to thank, definitely got to thank my guy, Callum McClurg, for really, helping, me in this like sports media field. I know he's got like a lot of experience in this industry. So I always, call him up, say, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? So Callan, thank you very much. And you better believe that, karaoke night is coming on sometime soon to the network. And, I would say probably like last but not least, or a couple more things actually. I gotta thank you guys, Ben and Loro. It's awesome doing the show with you guys. Every Sunday night, NFL topics, and also the last thanks that I probably will give is I gotta give it to the 49ers, because I really wanted to work for the Niners. And I was like a 17-year-old kid when I first got the job with the Niners, and I was like, had no experience whatsoever. I was unproven, and they really took a chance on me. And man, time really flies. Like now I've been there for 5 years now, and it's just been a blast to work for the Niners, for the last 5 years. And it's been so much fun every single Sunday going to work, every single Monday or Thursday, whatever, to go to work for the Niners. And I'm really grateful for them to give me my first job, and really to give me, my dream job. So those are like the things that I'm thankful for. And to all you guys out there, happy Thanksgiving.
And Ben, I'll pass it over to you.
Well, I mean, you guys pretty much did a lot of the stuff I'm thankful for, but I'll finish it off on a good note. First of all, I'm thankful for you two, Isaiah and Laura, for letting me join this program. I've had a ton of fun over the last several months, and I continue to, go on this journey with you guys. It's been a lot of fun talking sports, whatever it is. I'm also thankful for you guys keeping up with my jokes over the last couple weeks here. I try to have fun here, as you guys can tell. And for those that are joining me, the listeners. I appreciate everybody that's coming on here. It's always a pleasure to be on here. My next thing I'm thankful for is my friends, my college friends, my high school friends, my neighbors, my family, obviously, my twin brother, my sister in college, my cousins who I'm seeing for Thanksgiving, my grandparents. I can go on and on. I'm also thankful for my Patriots for finally getting back into first place, where we usually want to belong. Obviously, we'll see how long that'll take, but that's something to be thankful for. And I'm gonna be thankful for, hopefully the Red Sox to get back to where they want to be next year, and that's obviously past where Engel was last year. And a couple of the comments here, Justin had about the Revolution, and NYCFC and MLS. I'm gonna root for them Revolution for sure. So yeah, I'm thankful for, as you guys can tell, a bunch of things. Obviously, between you guys, the show, the Patriots, my teams that I love, my friends who I love, my family who I love, and obviously for those on here, happy Thanksgiving, and hope you guys enjoy the holiday.
Yeah, I mean, we got Christmas coming up. I mean, we're going to have a lot of those. I mean, we got Thanksgiving football coming up. So, Isaiah, you wanted to ask something.
Yeah, I'm also thankful to the 49ers for not firing my ass after, I go on these epic rants outside Levi Stadium, whenever they lose. I don't know how many times that security guard is outside watching me go on these rants, knowing that I'm wearing an employee shirt and I'm tearing the team to pieces. That team has hit rock bottom, where Kyle Shanahan needs to be fired, and Nick Rolovich needs to be the head coach of the 49ers. So I want to thank the Niners for being patient with me and not firing me after I go off on them after every loss.
That's funny. Oh man.
Yeah, that's pretty funny here. But anyways, I'm also thankful for the teams that I love, and also thankful for my love of sports, like all you guys here. So, anyways, before we get to final thoughts, we have some announcements to be making for you. So, there are no MI6 shows for this upcoming week until next Sunday. So we will be resuming programming on Sunday with the Extra Point next Sunday, just so you all know, with Thanksgiving break. No Wild Sports Talk this Monday and Friday, and also no Night Shift and no BS this week. So no BS will be returning with Isaiah Leong and Trevor Williams back on December 1st. The Night Shift with me and Isaiah Leong will be back next Thursday. And also, Wild Sports Talk will be back next Monday and next Friday. And also, if you guys want programs this week, you can check it out on the Coast, on our partner state, our sister station, which I meant to say, is the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. For great sports shows and entertainment shows, Adam and Jason Barber do a good job running the programs that they have there, along with my man Big B, Crispy Bacon, and also Sarge and Dave Mess Around. I've also made good friends with them at our sister station, and they also join our programs as well. So be sure to check out their programming this week, and also check out the Bo and Joe show, because also earlier today when I was on the morning tailgate, Bo is actually writing a book, so you might want to check that out as well. So anyways, now let's go to final thoughts. So my final thoughts is, thanks to Ishmael, Casey King, and Christy Wilson for tuning in, and Justin Bosman is the MVP of this show because he always tunes in every single night, and I know that he does. So and also one of my final thoughts is, most importantly, to the families of my colleagues at the MI6 and Coast to Coast Network, happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody eats turkey, eats some meat, eats some craving, or whatever you may be. Hope everybody enjoys their Thanksgiving with their families and loved ones, and also have big gatherings this year, since it was taken away last year due to COVID-19. So, anyways, Ben, what's your final thoughts?
I don't know why I'm laughing so hard. Yeah, I appreciate everybody that is joining. Like always, Laura, Justin is the MVP not only this week, but I feel like every week. So let's just first of all give the shout out. Casey is also an MVP too. Everybody here that I gotta say is an MVP in their own way. Casey, Justin. Let's see who else was on. I think somebody else was on here. Gotta go up. Gotta go up. Let me make sure I get everybody. Christy was also on. Justin was a spam with a bunch of messages. I was trying to making sure I got through everybody. So yeah, appreciate everybody that is tuning in. For those that I didn't get into, and Brandon as well. Appreciate you, Brandon. Anybody that didn't get in the comments, appreciate you guys tuning in. Isaiah, Loro, everybody that was joining. Happy Thanksgiving once again. Enjoy it. Enjoy the football, the dreadful football in the afternoon. Play some football outside for those that are, that enjoy it. Go to a high school game, eat some turkey with family. One question before we finish off. I don't know if you guys know. Your favorite thing for Thanksgiving to eat, like your main thing.
Turkey, of course. What about you, Isaiah and Ben?
For me, it's gotta be the pumpkin pie. I love me some pumpkin pie. Like, I'm a big fan of it, but it's gotta be the Costco ones though. Like, I don't know if you guys have Costco where you guys are at, but
yeah,
you guys know the pumpkin pies from Costco are huge and they're just just right.
Well, Costco has basically everything that's big. So I mean, if you want to eat a lot, that's where you go because it's just everything in big. I mean, besides turkey for me, I'm gonna go stuffing. I'm a big stuffing type of guy. I could probably go like 2 servings in. And we of course have a lot. At my cousin's place, for my cousin's place, we have like a turkey and we have like deep fried with like a bacon, like kind of wrapped around. It's extremely good. So I know, and for me too, I'm definitely gonna be having my Thanksgiving nap. As I said, it's a tradition of me that I just absolutely eat all the food, watch some football, and just absolutely, go out, at night, early at night, and maybe watch some movies. So that'll be kind of the way I'm doing it this year. And everybody that's joining, just enjoy Thanksgiving, enjoy your holiday, and I'll be actually back to work starting on Friday for the whole weekend. So I'll have a little quick break to me, and then going back to my stuff. So.
All right. So Isaiah, what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is I want to thank all the fans once again for tuning in, like Justin, Brandon, Christy, Casey, and I feel like I'm missing a few, but there's so many comments just to go through all of them. So if I didn't mention your name, I'm sorry about that, but I intend to mention you as a fan and thank you for listening to our show. But my final thoughts is, I intend to eat a lot, just like you guys for Thanksgiving. The turkey, the stuffing, all that good food. I'm really craving it right now. I just hope that, I don't come back on this show on next week Sunday looking like Kim Jong-un out here, looking so big and so, chubby out here after gaining 100 pounds just on Thanksgiving meal alone. But great show, and can't wait for next week, and can't wait for all the football and all the fun stuff that will be coming with Thanksgiving.
Yes, absolutely. So anyways, with that being said here,
and yes, Justin, Santa is real. We're not gonna cause any controversy on this show.
Yeah, we're not gonna cause any controversy on this show. So Tuesday and Wednesday for Loro Sports Pod, Ben and I are gonna be back together. We're gonna talk about some Patriots. We're gonna do Loro and Friends Inside the NFL, Patriots show only, and then Hot Stove on Wednesday. So anyways, Loro, for Stephen Wang, our producer, Ben, Isaiah, Agent Skip Bayless. This is Loro signing off for now. Have a great Thanksgiving week, and we'll talk to you all on the Extra Point next Sunday. Have a great night, everyone.
Yeah. I ain't choose the game chose me. I'm a champion, I need some trophies. I can draw the lane, I can shoot the three. I can run 100 yards, I can throw it deep. I ain't choose the game chose me. I'm a champion, I need some trophies. I can draw the lane, I can shoot the three. I can run 100 yards, I can throw it deep.
I got what it take to be a champ. You know bars life, you should come and join the camp. Title after title, put my rivals off the map. Thought you had the trophy till I came in for the snatch. I was born in it, not sworn in it. I ain't come to play, my wrist mean all business. Running like a mimic, check my jersey, authentic.